in the fantasy garage. Shameless plug for Fanta.
Oh, yeah!
We are back. The internet is back. The internet is working. All right. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about last week. Oh, my goodness. First world problems last week, ladies and gentlemen. My internet simply was out. My wife tells me I get home at 3:30 in the afternoon last Friday, and she says, internet's out. Guess what? It never came back. Guess when it came back? Sunday in the wee hours of the morning. You don't know what it's like now that you cut the cord and all you have is streaming services. Holy mackerel. When you don't have the internet, it is lousy. So there was no luck. It was out in my whole neighborhood. Long story short, they are doing some construction on a new development not far from here. And apparently the construction guys cut all the fiber optics. And no internet for Dustino. Couldn't get on. Couldn't do the show Friday night. So I really apologize because we had a big show planned for you, but hey, things happen. You know what I mean? Normally the show goes on, but the show is not able to go on this past week. We got the garage door open. We're going to be closing it because these kids are too rambunctious. So garage door is closing because the kids are just too wild. So give me just 1 second. All right, we got to close up the garage, get nice and cozy. Get nice and tight. Let us know what you're drinking in the chat. We got the high noon going. We're ready. It's the weekend. It's time for the weekend update. We got a lot to cover in the show tonight. We're going to get all your top 25 college basketball games going. And got to go back 2 weeks to my last show, and we kicked butt. We were down in the dumps after the first show. So I picked a terrible time to start actually really tallying how I've been doing. And we were awful that first week. We were 5-10. Well, guess what? We bounced back with 8-5. So we're now 13-15, and we got a big play tonight. So if you're just tuning in and you didn't see the short video yet this morning or this afternoon, whenever you caught it on the channel, I love the Miami of Ohio Redhawks and Bowling Green. Some action tonight, ladies and gentlemen, over 153.5. These teams went to 176. They already met. And two of the highest scoring teams in the country. In fact, I think Miami of Ohio might be the highest scoring team in the country. Highest scoring teams in college. They are up there as I look at it real quick. Let's see. The highest score. Oh, God. Yeah, highest scoring teams in NCAA. Google. Come on, buddy. They score like 90 a game. It's like 87 a game, something like that. So, absolutely going over. This is one of my favorite plays I've had in a long time. I love this game. Vanderbilt's one of the highest scoring teams. I'm trying to find the team rankings. Here we go, because this is really good. This gives you the team rankings on points per game, all that. Yeah, Miami of Ohio is 88 points a game. So they just get it up and down the court. They're going to get in the mid-80s. So we only need Bowling Green to get in the 70s, and I think they're going to keep it close. They're the number 1 and number 2 teams in the MAC. So anyhow, just wanted to get that out to you in case you hadn't seen it because we love it. That's a game tonight. I believe it's a 9 o'clock tip-off. Yes, it is. It's an 8:30 tip-off. Okay, one other game I like tonight, and I'm going to put it on my ledger because, like I said, I'm keeping track, is I like Indiana. I like this Miami, Ohio game better. But I like Indiana getting 11.5 in a rivalry game. Actually, I thought I saw 12 somewhere. Let me see where we're at. No, it's still 11.5. So I like Indiana in a rivalry game against Purdue. That's a huge rivalry. I got a good buddy who's a Purdue fan. And this guy knows, this is a big rivalry. He always talks about when they play the Hoosiers. I'm going to take the 11.5 and take Indiana. As you can see on your screen now, we got Drizzy Drin in the building. Hustling back from work, getting these banners up for us. So we appreciate Drizzy being in the house and getting these games up. So Indiana plus 11.5 goes on the ledger, and Miami of Ohio over 153.5 also goes on the ledger. Like I said, we are now 13-15, but we are off to a terrible start. It might even be worse, whatever it was. But last 2 weeks ago, I got to keep thinking 2 weeks because we missed last week. We had a really good week. So before we get into the whole rundown of the college basketball, want to just recap the Super Bowl real quick because my intentions on Friday last week were to recap the Super Bowl. Really dud of a game. Man, terrible game. Now, I did take the Patriots but it wasn't something you didn't hear me going nuts about it. You didn't hear me doing the Dustino, I love it or anything like that. I like the Patriots. I was going to take the points. I thought they could keep it closer. Their defense actually held in there for a while with the offense doing nothing. But ultimately, Josh McDaniels, no creativity in the offense, and Drake May played a terrible game. He looked very unprepared. I think that shoulder was more of an issue than they let on. I think that shoulder was bothering him, and he was afraid to run a little bit. He looked like a deer in the headlights. He looked like a second-year quarterback who just got his butt kicked, didn't handle the pressure well, first to admit. And they don't have the explosive guys, with the exception of Travion Henderson, really, who they underutilized all year, as you know, singing it from the treetops. You don't want to hear about it anymore. I know, we're moving on. But they don't have the explosives to make up for it, and they didn't have the game plan for it. I thought it was terrible game plan offensively by the Pats. I thought Josh McDaniels did a terrible job, and obviously Drake May did a terrible job. Kudos to Kenneth Walker, who ran the ball well, but ultimately the Patriots defense just ran out of gas. I mean, there's only so many times your offense can go 3 and out, 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 and then you go out there and keep holding them, hold them to 3, hold them to this. You're going to break at some point. And Darnold did enough. He didn't do much. He threw a couple of questionable passes that could have got picked, but ultimately he did enough to get them through the ball game, not making mistakes. There came a point where you kind of got that feeling, even at halftime, just don't do anything stupid. If Seattle just didn't do anything stupid, Patriots weren't going to be able to score enough. Now, with that being said, we did a real good job on our props in the Super Bowl. And I got them written down here. I got everything, got the old trusty notebook because I'm starting to track stuff now. Drake May, over 200. And this is just me, Dustino. We had Jay Joseph and Ken Rock on the show for the Super Bowl Bonanza. Drake May, over 224.5 passing yards. Boom. Under 6.5 points in the first quarter. Boom. Travion, over 1.5 catches, plus 160. Boom. Henderson, Travion, over 25.5 total yards. Boom. I mean, I cleaned up on these, okay? Over 2 picks in the game. Push. Drake May had 2. It was under 7.5 first quarter points for that Patriots game, not 6.5. Over 30, I kind of remember, over 36.5 longest TD. I don't know if I hit that. I don't remember if I hit that, guys. If you're in the chat, do you remember? I know that I came out plus. I remember coming out plus. Had the over field goals. Over 3.5 field goals. Love that. NFL scores. Let's see, the Super Bowl. I don't remember if I hit the longest touchdown. Let's take a beat. I think I did. Wasn't that Mac Hollins touchdown a long one? Let's go to the scoring plays. The Mac Hollins. Oh, it was 35 yards. And it was over 36.5, so I don't think I hit it. Wait, no, never mind. I did hit it because the interception return by Nuoso, I knew because I cleaned up. I looked at my account the next day, and I cleaned up. It was a 45-yard return. So it was a 45-yard return is what got us. I know Ken Rock was big on Seattle getting a touchdown. Double J, he liked Ken Walker with his big one was over 3.5 catches, did not get there. Cup anytime touchdown, he nailed that at plus 260, so that was good by Double J. Yes, both teams to convert a 4th down. I don't think Seattle did. I think that missed. Ken obviously missed JSN over 7.5, but he did have Seattle defensive touchdown plus 550. Shout out to Ken Rock. Plus 550 Seattle. So that's just quick recap of the Super Bowl. But there you go. 2 teams that you did not expect to really make it. Maybe Seattle you could have painted more of a case for. New England really coming out of nowhere. And as a Giants fan, I'm hoping we see that type of turnaround going from 4-13 to get into the big Super Bowl from my Giants. We got the quarterback. Love Jackson Dart. Now we got John Harbaugh. Let's see if the Giants can put it together. All right. But on to the golf real quick. If you watched last week, my short videos, and you watch my short video Wednesday, God, these days are blended when it's so busy. I've been hitting the golf. I've been doing really good. We gave you Tom Hoagie and we gave you Jordan Spieth last week. They both come in top 30. They both hit. Now, here's what I gave out in my short. That's why it's good to subscribe to the channel. You get these shorts. I gave Adam Scott top 20, plus 165, loves this golf course. Gave you Patrick Cantlay, minus 110, top 20, same thing. Loves the golf course. Great track record here in Riviera in LA. Now, really rainy and cold and kind of not your normal LA week. And then I also gave you Tom Hoagie, plus 320. Also, now Hoagie's going to miss the cut. Guys got a great track record. They just really came up short. Now I'm looking at live, and they're still playing because they're out on the West Coast, and they had a rain delay yesterday. So they had rain and whatever. So there's still guys finishing up on the course. The last guys are like on the 13th hole. So and it's only 4:11 out there on the West Coast. So they're going to get it in. But the cut line looks like it is going to be even. So Hoagie out, not going to make it. That's okay, plus 325. But my other two look decent. Cantlay's going to make the cut. He's tied 42nd. We need him top 20. The cool thing is top 20, 3 under gets you in the top 20 right now. So he's only 3 back of that. He had a really bad first round, so he's got plenty of time to make a comeback. So that's still live. But how about our guy, Adam Scott? Tied for third, plus 165, T3. And even if you go back 3 weeks ago, Super Bowl, we gave you Michael Thorbjornsen, who we loved. We gave you Michael Thorbjornsen as a guy, and he almost won the tournament. He missed the playoff by 1 and bogeyed the 17th hole or doubled the 17th hole, a drivable par 4. So we've been on fire with the golf, so keep your eyes on Adam Scott. Keep your eye on hopefully Cantlay gets hot over the weekend and can get us into the top 20. Scotty, let's get a quick Scotty update. I think he brought it back to even, didn't he? I think he's going to miss the cut, though. Well, no, cut is even. Where did Scotty get to? He got to even with a 3 under today. So 3 over. He completed his round this morning and then went right back out. He's going to make the cut. Scotty, man, I wonder what he is top 10 because he always does it. And we talked about it on the show 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, him getting up there. Let's take a look. Let's see if we got any action where it might be actionable. Yeah, so because the round's still being played, they don't have some of that stuff up. They just have guys to win. And if we're looking at it, what's my guy? Adam Scott's plus 600 now. He was way more than that before the tournament. I can promise you that. Let's see who's up there. Xander Schauffele likes this course, and he's at plus 600. Not enough. I may bet something on Sunday, some guy to win, but it's a little log jam. And you got McIlroy obviously playing really well and still on the golf course. He's 500 today, shot 500 yesterday. He is on the 16th hole. So he's got 3 holes to go. 17 is a birdieable par 5. 18's obviously one of the hardest holes on tour. But anyhow, that's a little bit of your golf. So keep an eye on Cantlay. Keep an eye on Adam Scott as we continue to go through. But what we really are excited about, especially down here in Florida, and I'll be attending a game on Thursday. I'm going to see the Braves and the Yankees on Thursday. I was nice enough to get invited to get a free ticket to go to the Braves-Yankees at 1 o'clock on Thursday. And spring training baseball started today down here in Florida. Yankees lost 2-0 to the Orioles. We don't care about spring training. But what we care about is that baseball's on the horizon. And I'm a big baseball fan, big fantasy baseball player. And so we're going to start covering baseball. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you – I know the whole league, right, to a point. I'm really specialized in the American League because my long-time home league for many years, God, I've been in it since 2013 maybe, 2012. That neighborhood sounds about right. Whenever Yoenis Cespedes made his sort of debut with the Oakland A's, because I was all about that guy, I love that guy. Whatever his debut was, if anybody knows what year that was, 2012, 2013, that's when I got into my home league fantasy baseball. It's an American League only league. We do also, caveat, have the Phillies and the Mets in there. So I know a little bit about them, but my main focus is AL. But I've expanded because I've started getting into some high stakes leagues, not my home league, some online stuff that I really enjoy because I just love the grind of the fantasy baseball. I love the picking up the guys off waivers and young guys who come up and speculating on who's going to lose a job, who's going to win a job, all those kind of fun things. It's just great. And as a numbers guy, as a stats guy, baseball, I mean, is the ultimate stat sport. So a lot of fun there. So what we're going to do is we've got about 6 weeks till the season starts in that neighborhood. So we're going to start doing division previews, and we're going to start tonight with the NL East. Okay. We're going to cover the division as a whole, see what teams, who they added, who they lost, what their projected lineup looks like, maybe a couple of fantasy sleepers on each team, some guys maybe that we're going to fade on teams, and then we're going to look at the win totals. We're going to look at what Vegas is projecting them to win. What do we think? Is there anything that we're willing to put our own hard-earned cash on and bet on these things? So let's start in the NL East. Let's start at the projected bottom of the division, which is not the Miami Marlins. It is the Washington Nationals, which Vegas right now has at an over-under of 65.5 wins for the Marlins. For the Nationals, they finished right on that number last year, 66-96. So not really projecting much of an improvement from the from the Washington Nationals this season. So obviously, clearly, a rebuilding team. But they've got some nice pieces. I mean, they've got James Wood at the top of their order. CJ Abrams is an exciting shortstop. Dalen Lyle is a young up-and-coming prospect. Power, speed, combo. This could be a fun offense. The depth on the offense is not there whatsoever. I mean, there's almost no depth. So if they have injuries, they could be in trouble. And then obviously they're rebuilding with throwing out a lot of young guys pitching. I mean, they've got Cade Savali, who's been in their farm system for a long time. They've got Josiah Gray, who's a former second-round pick in the MLB draft and was a highly touted prospect from the Dodgers. They got him in – trying to remember what trade they did. Yeah, they got him from the Dodgers in 21. I forget who they traded, but it was a big one. It was when they unloaded pieces, and everybody said, "What are you doing?" And that's when they got Kybert Ruiz, the catcher, and neither of those guys have really panned out. And that was the big – I think that was the Soto. Did Soto go to the Dodgers? I think he did. I think that was when they got rid of Soto, or was it whatever it was. They made a big deal, and they went and gotten those guys. And they haven't panned out. That's the thing. You trade one of your superstars because you don't want to pay them, and you got to hope that these young guys you get pan out. And Ruiz has been an okay middle of the road catcher. Josiah Gray had a ton of potential, big arm, has not panned out. I mean, I look at this team. I mean, what do I see that there's some room to get excited about. The young guys in the lineup: Dylan Cruz, Dalen Lyle, Abrams, Wood, the top 4 or 5 hitters. Luis Garcia Jr. is a pretty good hitter. Ruiz, I think we've seen enough of a sample. He is what he is, just an okay catcher. There's not a lot here. I know James Wood is going high in drafts. I mean, if you look in where I go to the NFBC, let me see here. I'll give you. He's a second rounder, I believe. Might be third rounder. Let me see. Oh my goodness, should have had this ready, right? NFBC. This is the high stakes. This is the high stakes site. So I mean, these people are playing for huge money, right? So if you're looking for ADP, I mean, it gets pretty. This is about as accurate as it gets, right? Because these guys are playing for money, right? These guys are playing for big money. So if I look at Washington, James Wood's a 28th pick. So a 12-team league, which is kind of the most standard. He's middle of the third round. And then after that, you got CJ Abrams, 54th pick. Dylan Cruz to 162. So there you have it. I mean, you've only got 2 offensive players in the top 60. Right? Yeah, 54th and 28th. And you go to the pitching side, and there's almost nothing. You go to the pitching side of things, I mean, Cade Savali's at 149. Clayton Beater, who's a reliever, who I guess they think is going to be the closer, although they don't really have a set closer, is going like one. Sorry, where's he going? He's going 219. No, Beater was before that, 160. And that's all speculation. So they're in for a rough year. I want to back them. I like the top of the order, but this does not look like a team I'm going to back. I mean, they're projected to be behind the Marlins, and there's a reason for that stuff. I mean, yeah, fantasy baseball and real baseball aren't the same. But when you've got nobody, and I mean nobody, up in the top, 2 guys in the top 50 and like 3 in the top 200 of teams for fantasy baseball players, I'm not seeing a lot. I'm not going to pretend that I know everything about their minor leagues, but I don't see guys like on the cusp that are knocking down the door. I know they made some more trades. Possible catcher to keep an eye on, Harry Ford. He's a former first-round pick of Seattle. Seattle had him blocked. So I like when you see teams do that because it's like, hey, we're going to trade from a position of strength and at least get something, right? There's been so many times, and the Yankees have done this a bunch, where you've got a young prospect and they're blocked. If you were a shortstop in the Yankees farm system in the late 90s, early 2000s, where were you going? Jeter wasn't going anywhere, and you had A-Rod. I mean, where are you going? You're going nowhere, right? So you're stuck. And time after time, Cashman would hang on to these guys and actually lose the value of them, right? So that's the flip side. Okay, I'm going to hang on to this guy. Well, what if the guy stinks? What if the guy gets out there and falls flat on his face, which happens with plenty of prospects? Now you lose all the trade value. Remember Greg Bird forever for the Yankees. Wouldn't trade Greg Bird. He would, we'll never trade Greg Bird. Well, you end up with nothing. Oh, we're not going to trade Clint Frazier. Oh, no. We love his bat speed. Ended up with nothing. So it's tricky when you're gambling on these prospects. And especially if you're a win now team, get rid of these prospects, especially if they're blocked. So great job by Seattle, because Seattle clearly has a win now team, made it very far into the playoffs, right? And they went ahead and said, you know what? This guy Ford's blocked. He's not getting over Raleigh. He's not beating out Cal Raleigh. Just had an historic season, right? So bada boom. We're going to move Harry Ford and try to bolster. I got no bet here. I can't do it. If I had anything, I would take the under. And listen, everybody wants to paint a story for all these teams. I watch, I listen to a lot of podcasts, watch a lot of it, getting ready for fantasy baseball, this and that. If you listen to a lot of people, they're taking what do we got? 30 teams in the major leagues. They're taking 25 of them to go over. Can't happen, right? Can't happen. Somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. At the end of the day, it's got to all even out. There's got to be equal wins, equal losses. So you can't take them all. If I had a gun to my head, I'd go under. I think they got worse. Because the pitching staff is all speculation. And what I don't like is that the pitching guys they do have, pitchers they do have that are going to be in the rotation at the moment are wild. Lot of walks. And I hate that. I mean, even the 2 guys, let's say the 2 guys they're projected to be their co-closers, right? Maybe one guy wins a job. Clayton Beeter, I've seen him on the Yankees, and Cole Henry. Both guys are projected for 63 innings pitched and 35 walks for one, 33 walks for the other guy. That's a lot of walks. That is way too 4.5 walks, per 9. And then they're starting rotation. That's what's been the bugaboo for Cade Savali. Cade Savali was a first-round pick. I remember a guy that I was highly interested in. But guess what? He walks a lot of people. And his whip is not there. And he's obviously had some injury issues as well. But that's enough on the Nationals. I think we've already talked enough about them. We're going to move on now to the Miami Marlins. Obviously, another small ball team, right? We're going to get to the cream of the crop here momentarily. Their number is, let's see, what is the number here on the Miami Marlins? They are at 72.5, and last year they got to 79. So kind of surprised some people. As you can see on the bottom, Drizzy Drin's got their, rebuilding, pitching heavy team. Absolutely key storylines. They traded Edward Cabrera, but they still have a very strong pitching rotation. And so when you have that strength in the pitching rotation, you've got a chance to beat this number, okay? That's why I can't take the Nats. As enticing as that young lineup looks, can't take it. Now, here's the flip side. If we could marry the Marlins and the Nats, we'd have a heck of a team. We'd have a team that could maybe win the division. Because here's the problem. Their offense is atrocious. but their pitching is good, right? Sandy Alcantara. Oh my goodness. Sandy Alcantara, former Cy Young, now an extra year after the injury, looks to bounce back. Think he will bounce back a little bit. Yuri Perez, young guy, absolutely electric pitcher. 23-year-old, about to be 23-year-old pitcher. Chris Paddock. Okay, Paddock's a little over the hill, but Braxton Garrett, Max Meyer, another first, a third pick in the draft, Max Meyer. Tons of great stuff. And then, they've got a minor league system full of pitchers. Okay, so they have the pitching. It's where are they going to get the hitting? And they got a bunch of punch and Judy hitters here. Okay, we've got, their highest home run guy is Kyle Stowers. And again, this is a projection who they got from Baltimore, left-handed outfielder, gets injured quite a bit, with 27. And then after that, Agustin Ramirez, their catcher that they got from the Yankees, is looking at 18. Now, he does steal 12 bags, so you like that as a catcher if you're playing fantasy baseball. But other than that, it's a lot of kind of slap hitters, not a lot of slugging whatsoever. So what that tells me, as the season progresses, look for a lot of unders in Marlins games, right? Great pitching. Well, I shouldn't say great pitching, but pretty good pitching. They got some starters. Now, they have some great trade pieces at the deadline, right? Sandy Alcantara, there was a lot of talk about him going last year, and he's going to be 31 soon. I think he's on the move. If they're not in the hunt, he is definitely a chess piece that'll be on the move. I don't think they're going to want to move Perez. They'd need a haul for Perez. Closer, they've got Pete Fairbanks, who I'm familiar with down here in Tampa. I think Fairbanks would be a much better setup as a setup man. But, hey, he's okay, but he's one of the shakier closers. And how many games is he going to be, having a shot to close, right? Xavier Edwards is exciting if you're looking for speed. But other than that, I just don't see it in this offense. Now, one guy like in a sleeper in a deep league, Connor Norby, third baseman, I always kind of liked him as a hitter. He doesn't do anything special, but you can get him extremely late, right? And I would look to get him, as like a backup third baseman, corner infielder. I think he's 250, 260, handful of homers, handful of steals. He's kind of an average guy. He'll be all right. He can keep you in there. 72.5 wins. They got to, what did they get to last year? 79. But the Braves were really, really down. This is another one I kind of like the under. I'm not going to make it an official play, so no official plays yet. I kind of like the under because I feel like, we're going to get to him in a second, I feel like the Braves have a pretty good chance at bouncing back. And I don't know where the hitting's going to come from. I don't know who's going to drive in runs. I don't see it. You look at their average. This is going to be even worse for like who we have on the Marlins. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's go back to the beginning. Hang on one second. So we're going to go. All right, for the pitching, I'm sure Alcantara is going to be up there, or Alcantara. My God, I keep screwing up his name bad, huh? Yuri Perez is 35th ranked pitcher. Fairbanks is going as the 47th pitcher because people want the saves, and Alcantara is 62nd. That's it from a fantasy perspective. The hitting is going to be wild. When's the first hitter? Got to be Xavier Edwards, maybe, just for his speed. Let's take a look at the hitting. Let's go hitters. Miami. This kind of stinks. Takes you all the way. Oh, wait, hang on. I got it. Here we go. We got to sort here. All right, folks, we got you covered here. For Miami hitting. First hitter's that catcher at 75th player overall. Because you got a catcher that's projected, and I didn't even know this till we're doing this, to have 12 steals and 18 home runs. And, of course, he came from the Yankees. We could kind of use that, although I think we'll be okay with Wells. So that's your first projected hitter. Your next hitter for Miami, 121, you got Kyle Stowers. That's pretty big speculation on Stowers. Hasn't done it really yet. And then after that, Jacob Marcy. Don't even know who he is. Jacob Marcy, They got him batting leadoff. Oh, he's supposed to have 35 steals. There you go. Little slap hitter. 13 homers, 35 steals. Acquired him from San Diego. Let's see what did he do last year. Last year, he got 234 plate appearances, 5 home runs. Where's the steals from last year? I'll tell you what, these sites have a lot of stuff, but then they're also all over the place. He's pretty good in the minors. He had 47. He had 14 steals in 55 games. So you extrapolate that out times 3, which you can't always do, but that 35, 40 steals. Okay, so that's why he's going up there. But other than that, there is not a whole heck of a lot, folks. So I lean under Marlins. This is a good exercise for me to do too as a bettor. I'm going to look at a lot of Marlins games going under. I'm going to look at Marlins games going. And on the flip, Nationals could become an over team because I do think they have some potency with their offense, but certainly not a whole heck of a lot with their pitching, the Nationals. All right, we're going to move on now to the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves, their number has gone significantly up. So everybody thinks they're going to have a bounce back, myself kind of included. However, when I saw this number at 88.5, so just and they didn't come close to that. They were riddled with injuries and underperformers. 76 and 86, probably the most surprising team of the year, the Braves, from what they produced. So not a good season for the Braves. Really, really bad season. But now you've got the Braves at 88.5. We're going to get to the Mets and the Phillies. They're both at 89.5. So Vegas sees this as a very, very competitive division. And it's kind of flip your coin. Because you could paint a picture for all 3 of these teams to win the NL East. You could also paint the picture that, going to fall flat on their faces again. And Atlanta worries me from their pitching, okay? Hitting, there is no questioning this. If they're healthy, Acuna, Matt Olson, Drake Baldwin, the young up-and-coming catcher, Austin Riley should have a bounce back. Ozzie Albies. They bring in Mike Yastrzemski. I love Michael Harris. I think at some point he's going to come back. And what I like, they don't strike out tons. Riley does. The rest of the team is basically under a 20% strikeout rate. That's pretty good. I mean, we just talked about how the Marlins got nothing. We got Acuna, 31 homers. Olson, 32. These are all projections. Baldwin, 21. Austin Riley, 30. Albies, 19. Harris, 22. I mean, 8 of their 9 hitters are projected to go over, double digits, close, 20, 30 home runs. And they got, benches. Their bench is suspect. So there's not a lot of depth there. And then the pitching. The pitching is very shaky with Schwellenbach going down. If you saw that news, my apologies. Shoulder problems for Schwellenbach. So he's out and could miss the whole year. The closer situation, Raisel Iglesias, getting up there in age, 36 years old. They bring in Robert Suarez, which I think was a great move, signing him as a free agent and an insurance piece. And I wouldn't be surprised if Suarez saves quite a few games, as he was clearly the better reliever last year between the two of them. Even on the Ks, pretty close on the walks, but Iglesias had some troubles. I mean, it's going to be Iglesias' job, no doubt, to start, but anything can happen. Schwellenbach, elbow surgery. So Schwellenbach had some stuff taken out of his elbow, and it doesn't sound very good, okay? So he has dropped tremendously in drafts. I know he was everybody's favorite sleeper. He's fallen in drafts. I mean, it's going to come down to health with him. They are going to have to they're going to outslug people. You got Spencer Strider, who I didn't even get to with his whole arm issues and how he was off and on. And he looked so dominant 2 years ago. And now he's had internal brace surgery and he's had Tommy John. And his velo, he's not been working. It's very, very questionable what's going to happen with these Braves. I think they're going to be a team that you're just going to want to hammer their overs. I talked about Miami being an under team. I mean, you got Acuna going at the 7th pick in the drafts. You've got Matt Olson, 45. So let's go as far as hitters. because that's giving me pitchers too. I want to go hitters. Yeah, here we go. So just hitters. So Acuna's going 6th off the board, 6th hitter off the board. Then we got Austin Riley going at 45th, Matt Olson going at 31st, Drake Baldwin going 45. So we talked about the Marlins not having anybody. Then we've got Harris. So that's what? 6 players? 7. You have 7 players in the top 100 just from the Braves on offense, and 8 players in the top 107. So 8 players in the top 107. So that is going to be a potent offense for the Braves. I just can't get, and I shouldn't say that. I like the Braves. Of all the NL East teams, I usually root for the Braves. Probably like a lot of people because they used to be on TBS a lot, right? So even though it wasn't your team, if you looked at the National League, you got to see on WGN, you got to see a lot of Cubs games. And on TBS, you got to see a lot of Braves games. So Braves didn't make a ton of moves in the offseason because they've got a lot of their guys locked up. And I think they're going to score a buzz. You know, if everybody's healthy, they're going to score a gazillion runs. I mean, I'm taking them. I mean, take their overs all day long. But are they going to get to 89 or 90 wins and flip it around? 14 wins? Not with Schwellenbach out. Not with Strider not being a top of the line ace. And then not only that, your ace Chris Sale has not been the pillar of health. It is now 37 years old. Grant Holmes is an okay pitcher. Reynaldo Lopez is all right. He has a chance to be a pretty good pitcher. He's 32. He doesn't have a long track record of being really good. I just think their pitching is going to be very suspect. You know, they're going to have to outslug people. So bet their overs. I'm not taking them. Again, that's 3 teams in a row. Gun to my head, I'm taking the unders. Probably not everybody's most favorite, but somebody's got to win these games and somebody's got to lose these games. All right, now we're going to move to the Philadelphia Phillies. So if I'm taking 3 teams to go under in the NL East, or at least that I don't really like over, so I think they'll be near the number, got to have somebody over, right? How about the Philadelphia Phillies? How about the Phillies that people are a little down on? Last year, 96 wins, obviously faltered in the playoffs, had a great season last year, 96 wins. I'm obviously not a Phillies fan, not a Philly fan whatsoever. I think these Phillies have a chance to be really good this year. I think they're going to be better than people think. I like the rotation. Give me a second. We need another high noon. We need one more high noon to get us through the rest of the NL East. I think the Phillies are going to have a good year. I think a lot of people are projecting them for a down year. I know they lost the pitcher to the Sox. The Sox kind of stole their pitcher. What was that guy's name? Suarez. Was it Suarez? Ranger Suarez went to the Sox, and they lost him. But that's all right. Harrison Bader they lost. They bring back Real Muto. Pretty much the same suspects. I mean, how good? This is a pretty good lineup. They bring in Adolis Garcia. I like that signing. He looks a lot healthier. I think he was battling injuries. Explosive player. I mean, we've got Trey Turner, solid. Getting up there in age, 32 and a half, but, near 300 hitter, gets on base like crazy. 28 steals he's projected for. You got Kyle Schwarber. Obviously, love Kyle Schwarber. You got Bryce Harper. You've got Alec Boehm. Solid. Brandon Marsh. Solid. Adolis Garcia could bring a little life to that clubhouse. We'll talk about that later as they let Nick Castellanos go for apparently being kind of a problem in the clubhouse. Bryson Stott at second base, solid. Steals, gets on base. Decent player. Real Muto, getting up there in age, almost 35, but still definitely a good catcher and a good offensive catcher for sure. And then you got Justin Crawford, who they think has a chance to break camp as the starting center fielder. So that would be very interesting. He's the 17th pick in the 2022 draft. He is one of their top prospects. So if you're looking at him, he is projected to be their center fielder. He's from Bishop Gorman High School in Florida. Let's see what he did in AAA last year. So in AAA last year, he had 506 plate appearances, 7 homers, 88 runs, 46 steals. So he's one of those steal type of guys. What I like to look at is their K percentage in the minors, because if you're striking out too much in the minors, pretty good chance you're going to strike out a ton in the major leagues, because it ain't going to get easier. And only a 18% K rate. And this is huge. Pardon me. It's when I'm outside in the garage, whatever. Every time I get the nose running. Anyhow, 11.5% walk rate. Now that's going to go down because you're facing better pictures. You're not going to get walked as much. But I think let's talk about this for a quick sec. I think walk rates are going up this year. Why? They're bringing in the system, right? They're bringing in, what the heck do they call it? KBS or whatever it is, where you can tap your helmet and go upstairs and review the balls and strikes. And they had that at AAA. And the AAA walk rates were way higher, right? Listen, these umpires are human beings. They're not machines. They don't get all these calls right. So, boom, hey, ball. You got so many more chances to walk. Now, I'm interested to see. And you know what? This is not my bad, because I didn't know where I was going with this conversation today. But I want to look up, and I will look this up for you all at some point, either whether I do it tonight or tomorrow. Like, how does that work if you question it and you get it wrong? Let's see. Balls and strikes challenge. Let's do a little AI here, okay? Players can challenge an umpire's ball or strike, okay? It's reviewed by the system. Only the pitcher, catcher or batter can initiate the challenge. And the dugout or other players are not allowed to tell you what to do. So they got to do it themselves. So if I'm a hitter, I don't like the call, I got to do it myself. I can't. Sure, they might find a way to, give them a little head nod, like, hey, whatever. Now, each team gets 2 of these for their entire game. If a challenge is successful, the team keeps it. If they challenge and they're unsuccessful, they lose it. In extra innings, each team will receive 1 more additional challenge. So that's going to be very, very interesting, right? What if you get a player that challenges a lot and he keeps missing it? It's one thing when the coach screws it up, right? Coach questions it. Coach throws a challenge flag in the NFL, right? And they question it. That's on the coach. Now, hey, I'm a player. What if you got a player that's questioned a lot and boom, first guy up loses 2 of your challenges? Or you have a pitcher who's a little bit of a cranky pitcher, right? And he wants to and you lose those challenges early in the game. So I think it'll be pretty interesting. I'm not sure how much I'm going to love it. Now, I went to a minor league game last year. I saw him use it. It's instant. It really happens quick. You don't even know it's happening, really. I mean, literally, the batter will go like this. I saw it more from batters than I did from pitchers, I'll be honest with you, because I think more balls are called strikes than strikes that are called balls, my opinion. Strike zone's pretty small to begin with, okay? So I think that's probably what you're going to see more of. You're going to see more of it coming from the hitters. I don't think you're going to see too many catchers doing it. I don't think you're going to see a ton of pitchers. Maybe late in the game, tight one. Why not? Right? Why not challenge it if it's super close on a 3-2 pitch or a 2-2 pitch, and that could have struck the guy out, and it's late in the game? It's going to be interesting. It's going to bring another level of strategy. I think it's kind of exciting and kind of fun. And if you get your challenges right, you get to keep them. So anyhow, that walk rate, going all the way back to Justin Crawford, who we're talking about, this youngster, it is going to be pretty good, right? 11.5%. It's not going to be that good in the majors. And most of the projection systems have him for 25, 30 steals, well, not 30, 20 to 30. Okay. And a smattering of home runs. And he's going to be batting in the 9 holes where they have him in the projected lineups on Roster Resource. So that's a good spot to be. You get on base and you got Trey Turner and Kyle Schwarber coming up. So it's almost like having, that back-to-back leadoff hitter. So I like the Phils bullpen. I like that they brought in the guy from Minnesota, Yohan Duran. Love him. I've always been a big fan of Jose Alvarado's stuff if he can find the strike zone. So 2 big strikeout pitchers. Kirkring's pretty good. They bring in Brad Keller. They've got a couple of young guys. As far as the rotation, Christopher Sanchez, budding superstar. I mean, he's going as like the fourth pitcher off the boards, I believe. Just tremendous out of nowhere season last year. Let's see, what did he do? He was fantastic last year. Out of nowhere, gained a bunch of velo in his 20, having a 28-year-old breakout. Had a great season. 13-5, 202 innings pitched, and had a 9.4. So more strikeouts than innings pitched. Only a 1.96 walk rate. That guy was great. Guy was really good. 58% ground ball percentage. That's pretty solid. Yeah, that's definitely a true ace for the Phillies. 1,000%. I like the Phillies. I like these Phillies. If they can get something out of their top prospect there, Andrew Painter, who has been highly touted for years, and let's see if they can finally get something out of him. They're hoping he breaks camp in the rotation. Time will tell. That's going to be a big spring training for Mr. Painter. You've obviously got Aaron Nola hoping to have a bounce back after not the greatest season. What's Zach Wheeler's status? I got to look up Zach Wheeler. I know he's injured at the moment. Let's see. Thoracic outlet depression surgery. Is he due to come back this year? I got to find some Zach Wheeler news. Let's see. Okay. He's throwing off flat ground. What that tells us, I don't know. I was hoping I could find some more news on him. I'll try to find more news. But if they can get Zach Wheeler back, that's obviously helpful too. I think, like I said, Aaron Nola should bounce back. Jesus Luzardo, another pitcher that I love. I think he's excellent. He's going as the 13th pitcher off the board, so they've got some pitchers. They got a bunch of hitters that are going up there. Kyle Schwarber. Let's see where Schwarber is. He's getting picked early the guy just straight mashes the ball. Where the heck is Schwarber? He's only a utility guy. He's going as the 20th offensive player. But they got a lot of guys. Why does it jump me? I don't understand. I'm typing in Philly, and then it's like jumping me to like their like 20th player. Makes no sense. All right, let's go to the top of the order. All right, anyhow, in the top of theirs, right, they've got Schwarber's going 20th off the board. So late second round pick. Trey Turner, late second round pick, 22nd off the board. Harper, 29th. So he's in a 12 team. He's early third or late second in a 15-teamer. You got Bryson Stott then at 111, Rio Muto 125, Adolis Garcia. I like Garcia at his price. I think Garcia could have a comeback year. I think he was injured last year. I think he was banged up. Adolis Garcia, I mean, he's the last handful of years. I'm trying to look up his stats real quick. I mean, last year, injured season. What he bat? 227. Yeah, not good for sure. Strikeout rate was kind of high. Kind of the same as he's been, though. Actually, it was a little lower. He had some really bad BABIP problems. That's balls batted in play. What your batting average is. Around 300 is pretty normal. He was 267, so that wasn't good. Only had 19 homers, 13 steals. I think Adolis bounces back a little bit. I think he was banged up. I think he bounces back, and he's got a pretty good lineup around him. Look for Adolis Garcia to outperform that ADP. In my opinion, I like the Phillies over. 89.5. We'll see if I make it an official play. I like it. They got there last year. I think they get there again. I think they get some stuff from Andrew Painter. I think Wheeler comes back at some point. Got to find that news. And I think the top of the rotation is solid. And I think they improve their bullpen. And I like this kid Crawford, giving him some youth down there. I mean, you look at it, right? I was looking at the Marlins, like we were talking how bad that lineup is. I didn't see squat for it tells you like where they came from. I mean, they had a couple second-round picks. You look at this team, right? Take away Adolis Garcia, who obviously is an international player. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their top 9 are first-round picks, former first-round picks. They have a former second-round pick and a former third-round pick in their lineup, and then Adolis Garcia. That's pretty good pedigree right there, really good pedigree. And again, in the pitching, you got Taijuan Walker, solid enough, right? Didn't really pan out to what he was projected, but Andrew Painter, if they could get him to do a little something, and then obviously if they have some pitchers in the minors, and then they can get Zach Wheeler back at some point. I wish I could find out when Zach Wheeler, I'm going to get a quick injury. Let's see what they're saying about when he's supposed to come back. Reveal. And actually, the key update was 14 hours ago. They just gave a big update. Let's see. Why is it so hard to just get like a, hey, he's expected back? He's throwing from long distances. They think late May is a possibility. I like the Phillies. I'm making the Phillies a bet. All right. So our first season long total bet, MLB, we're taking the Phillies over 89.5. So they got to go, 90 and 72? I like it. I think this is a team. This is a good team. I really do. I think this is a team that can do it. Now, we go on to a very polarizing team for everybody. Like I said, Adelise Garcia, absolutely. Thank you to Drizzy Dren for having these on the bottom of the screen. We go to the Mets. Identical win total as the Phillies. And the Mets are polarizing. 83 and 79. Obviously, extremely down year for the Mets. Some drama in the clubhouse. You're hearing things that Soto and Lindor don't get along. I don't know. What do you make of that? They obviously bring in Bo Bichette, Marcus Semien, Freddie Peralta, who I love, Luis Robert, who I've always loved. Can Kodai Senga stay healthy? Can Sean Manaea stay healthy? Devin Williams as the closer. Thank the Lord he's off the Yankees. Oh, my God, that guy gave me so much heartburn. Thank the Lord Devin Williams is out here. I think that guy stinks. Or certainly one of those guys cannot handle New York City. No shot. Cannot handle. They bring in Jorge Polanco. Where are they playing all these guys? I mean, that's cool to have a lot of depth. And listen, injuries are going to happen. But that's tough on a manager because he's got to try to keep all these guys happy. Semien, Polanco, used to playing every day. Let's see what roster resource, which is if you want like depth charts and all that, roster resource is fantastic. Maybe they want to sponsor the show here. But anyhow, here's their projected starting squad. And then we got a guy I never even heard of. Oh, my goodness. Hang on. So obviously they let Alonso go, fan favorite. All right, here's their projected lineup. Lindor, Soto, Bichette. I mean, you can't argue with that. Pretty dang solid. Polanco, who I like, he stays healthy. Had a great year last year with Seattle. Hit a ton of doubles. I had him on my fantasy team. He was great for me. Marcus Semien, guy I love. Usually a slow starter, but a really good player. Getting up there in age, what solid glue guy. They have him at second. They have Polanco at first. Brett Beatty as the DH is where they have him. He'll probably platoon with Vientos. Lefty-righty swaps. Francisco Alvarez, the catcher, coming back. Could have a bounce-back year. Luis Robert, they have projected to bat 8th. I mean, that takes a lot of pressure off him where he was on the White Sox and he had to be the guy. Now he gets to kind of blend in over him. It might be good for him. He might be one of those guys that just has that personality that actually will, you're on a crap team. Sometimes when you're on a crap team, it's hard to keep yourself day in, day out grinding. You know what I mean? When your team stinks and the ownership and the management around you is not putting any money into the team and they're just, going through the motion, that's hard to get up. Now you go to a contender. I think Luis Robert is a top 15 talent hitter. Top 15 talent hitter. Maybe 20 in the major leagues and just has not fully put it together. Maybe this is where he gets it. Maybe he needs a new voice. Maybe he needs to be where he's in the limelight and on the spotlight, held accountable. And the White Sox, they've been lousy, so he just kind of blends in. And now they've got in right field Carson Bangy. Never heard of him. First round pick in 2024. They don't really have much else going out in that outfield. So it's like they got a million infielders, and where's the outfield? So this Carson Bangy, let's take a look at the 19th overall pick from last year from Oklahoma State. How did he do in the minors? He only had 519, pretty good. 13% walk rate. There you go. That walk rate was everybody's walk rates were through the roof with this whatever they call it, the KBS or KDS, questioning the pitches. He had 15 home runs, 22 steals, solid little player. Kind of like this Crawford guy, putting him ninth, almost 2 leadoff hitters. So we'll see how he handles. Didn't play any in the majors last year, so we'll see how he handles major league pitching. But I'll tell you what, these Mets look pretty good, man. As much as I hate to say it as a Yankee fan, I love watching the Mets fall flat on their face. But maybe this Lindor Soto thing, maybe there's something to that. Maybe those two guys cannot get it. They don't get along, or one stole the spotlight. Who knows? These guys become divas or something. But that's a pretty good squad if you're looking at it. I mean, like I said, I think Luis Robert, where's he? I want to see where Luis Robert is going in drafts. I'm very interested in that. That's what I type in. NYM maybe. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Let's go back to the top. So obviously Soto's the 4th overall pick in drafts right now. And again, these are real leagues, big time money. You got Lindor going at 14th. So early 2nd round, late 1st if you're in a 15-teamer. Bo Bichette's going at 65. Robert's going at 74. I know last year I had him, and he was going in the 50s. So there's a little slide on him, and I think he could outperform that. The catcher's going at 105, Polanco 138, Simeon 154. Now, there's some age there. Now, you have Vientos as a depth piece. I think they have a couple of guys in the minors, but they gave up a lot of stuff to get Freddie Peralta. They gave up a lot, and I heard from a lot of experts who really liked that deal from the Brewers' perspective. They thought they got a haul for Freddie Peralta. And Freddie Peralta's good. I've always liked Freddie Peralta. How does he perform under the gun, under the limelight? So their starting rotation is him, Nolan McLean, young buck, David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, and Kodai Senga. Senga, I saw some news yesterday, was throwing heat, 96, 97 on the gun. So it looks like he could be back. I like him if he's healthy. I don't love this bullpen. Luke Weaver was very shaky for the Yankees. Devin Williams, very shaky for the Yankees. I don't know about this bullpen and this pitching. This is another team that's probably going to have to outslug people. I want to take the over and just say, listen, it's going to be a 2-horse race where like the Mets and the Phillies win in the 90s. They're duking it out all summer. And the Braves are kind of right around that 500. And the Marlins and the Nats aren't good. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it right now. Too many question marks in the pitching. I don't love the bullpen. I don't love the closer and the setup man. I'm okay with Weaver, but what's his track record of doing it? You see these relievers come out sometimes and just have a random incredible season, right? Is that who he really is? I mean, or is he the guy that was very, very average in his years in Arizona and had a K percentage of 8.5 or barely 9%? Or is he the guy that had that amazing 2023 for the Yankees where he threw 123 innings and was lights out, and then 24 where he threw 84 innings and was 11 Ks per 9 and struck a ton of guys out. He's a fly ball pitcher. Don't necessarily love that either. If you lose a little velo and you're a fly ball pitcher, look out. So I can't take these Mets. I would lean. It's crazy. It's like 4 of the teams that kind of lean towards. And listen, Vegas makes good lines. So you're not going to go to a division and go, oh, I love all 5 of these. I'm going to bet my hard-earned money on 5 of these totals. They know what they're doing. They set these numbers pretty good. So if I like one, I think the Phillies get to in the 90s. So there's my official first play in the NL East. Phillies over 89.5. I like the Phillies roster. I like their bullpen more. I think their starting pitchers up at the top are better and probably a little more healthy, more reliable. And then I think they have the chance for a couple other pitchers to emerge and outperform themselves. So there's your NL East preview. Next week, we will I got to count out the weeks. We're probably going to have to put a couple where we do 2. So next week, maybe we'll do NL Central, NL West. We'll try to zip through them a little bit. But that's your NL East preview. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Let us know in the chat what you think. If you think that if you like one of these 5 teams that I didn't like, or you like a sleeper hitter or a sleeper pitcher or something like that, let us know in the chat. Please get active in the chat. Let us know what you're sipping on. And now we're going to get to the college basketball. And college basketball is heating up. We already gave you Miami of Ohio over 153.5. If you're somebody who bets like 20 on games, maybe put 40, 50 on that one. And then 20 on the Indiana game. I like that Miami, Ohio one that much, over 153.5. So we've already gone a little long with these previews and our recaps and everything. Hopefully you're hanging in there with us. Let's get to Saturday's college basketball games. Drizzy Dren, get us going. We're going to go semi-rapid fire. All right, Florida Gators, one of the hottest teams in the absolute country, a 12.5-point road chalk against Ole Miss. I am not getting in front of the Florida train. I am not getting in front of that train. You know me. I love a home dog as much as almost anything. Florida has been mauling people, okay? 14 against South Carolina, 9 against a ranked Kentucky team, 20 against Georgia, 19 against Texas A&M, 23 against Alabama, a ranked team, 47 points against South Carolina, lost to Auburn, beat LSU by 18, beat ranked 10th in the country Vanderbilt by 4 on the road, blew out Oklahoma by 17, blew out Tennessee, a ranked team, by 24. This team blew out Georgia by 15. This team is absolutely on fire. Since January 6th, they have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of their last 12. And blowing everybody out by double digits except for one. And that was a road game against the 10th ranked Vanderbilt where they won by 4. I'm not getting in the way of the Gators. I kind of like the over too. It's hard for me to lay that many points. It's just not in my nature. Let's see if there's any look ahead. Not really a look ahead for Florida. For Ole Miss, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 losses in a row. Now, they've been pretty competitive. 12, 9, 3, 18, 11, 19. You know what? Screw it. I'm taking the Gators. I'm putting it on the ledger. I'm riding this team. This team is peaking. They're minus 12.5. A road. I don't know if you've ever seen me take a road favorite of more than like 4 or 5 points. I can't remember the last time I had. We're going to take the Gators. I'm just not getting in the way of that train. Now, one other thing I want to look at, right? We always look at every angle here. What are the Gators to win it all? I mean, they are playing great basketball, and you've got injuries. My poor Texas Tech lost their best player. The Kansas kid is kind of a nightmare, right? Guys, he's biding his time to get to – I can't stand those guys. Biding his time to get to the NBA. Good riddance. See ya. Sit him down. Plus 1,300 for Gators to win it all for all you future players out there. So, not a bad one. All right, Drizzy, next game. Creighton at St. John's. Oh, my Huskies. The two teams are playing that have beat my Huskies recently. And boy, oh boy, did UConn lay an egg on Wednesday night. Woof, that was ugly. Creighton just has our number. Even though we blew them out in Creighton. And I was all over the Creighton. That was one of my few losses there. But now they got to go do it again. Now they got to – I wonder if they even went home. I wonder if they just stayed up in the Northeast to go to St. John's. 12.5. You know, I like this St. John's team. I don't think they're like – I don't think they're a national championship contender. I think they're an Elite 8 team. They could get to the Elite 8. I could see that if they get the right draw. I don't like this game. This game stinks. I think St. John's could be looking forward to UConn. I think they play on the 25th, right? Is that the next game for both teams? Do they play again on a Friday night? No, Wednesday night. So it's a look-ahead game. If I did anything, I'd take Creighton. I like the under a little bit. No play from Dustino. No play. I think St. John's is looking ahead to UConn. And but I also don't love Creighton coming off the big win. So I'm not taking either one. Next game. Cincinnati at Kansas. This is an interesting one. I kind of like Cincinnati here. They've been underperforming all year. I think there's a lot of drama swirling around this kid who's kind of been nursing injuries. And is he injured? Is he not? And then he barely played in the second half and, said he needed time. And I don't like it. He was cramping. I mean, Kansas has been playing better ball. I mean, they did win that game only by 12, and now they're 10.5-point chalk. Have they faced Cincinnati yet this year? They have not faced Cincinnati. I know they beat Arizona. Big win at home. Only beat Utah by 12, lost to Iowa State by 18. Cincinnati's been playing a little better. They're kind of a maligned team. They've been really underperforming, but they've been playing a little better here lately. They've won 3 in a row. I watched the UCF game because I had the over in that game, which I hit. And they've been playing a little bit better. Give me Cincinnati. Give me the Bearcats playing a little better and all the drama swirling around the Kansas kid. Give me the Bearcats plus 10.5. All right, next game. And by the way, I don't think Kansas is a win-it-all team. I know they're top 10 ranked. I don't think they're a win-it-all team. I think they're a team that gets knocked out early or upset. Like, I wouldn't be surprised come tournament time seeing them get beat in the second day. Now, here's a game I really like. And what I like is the under. North Carolina at Syracuse in the Carrier Dome. Carrier Dome is going to be rocking. They're going to be fired up, although they got to get rid of that coach. And I'm not a big – I look for almost any reason to not fire a coach. That guy's going to go. It's awful. Because there's talent and there's just nothing offensively. And that's why we're going under, 154.5. And now Carolina lost their super freshman. Syracuse can't score. Very good. They struggle to score. I know they got to 100 against California, but it took double overtime. SMU, they scored 79. Carolina's been better on defense this year. Normally, they're not a very good defensive team. I think the defense plays well. I think Syracuse defense is able to play well with the star out. And I think Carolina struggles to score. They've had 2 games without the kid. They scored 79 against a bad Pitt team, but they went on the road at NC State and only put up 58. I think this game's going to be in the 60s. Maybe they get to the low 70s, but I think this game's going to be in the upper 60s. This is an official play. I'm taking under 154.5 in the Carolina-Syracuse game. Next game. Penn State at Nebraska. Nebraska kind of been floundering. 19.5-point chalk at home against Penn State. Penn State is not good. They're 11-16. They're in last place in the Big Ten. Lost to Rutgers last time out. On the road, they did beat Washington, who's not very good either. I can't back either one of these teams. They keep getting, Penn State's got a bunch of blowouts. I mean, how do you lose to Maryland, who's absolutely abysmal, by 23? You lose to Wisconsin by 27, Northwestern by 21. I mean, Nebraska did peak early, and they've been struggling as of late. They've lost 3 of their last 5, but they've lost to the who's who, right? Losing at Iowa is not an easy place to play. Purdue, tough game. Michigan, tough game. Illinois. I mean, these are teams I think, Michigan and Illinois, I think, are 2 teams that could win it all easily. And Michigan might be the best team in the country. So if I had to take anything, I'd take Nebraska. I lean under. No official play, though, from Dustino as we keep moving on. Miami at Virginia. Virginia is a 8.5-point favorite, 14th ranked team in the country. Haven't seen a ton of Virginia, to be honest with you. I have seen Miami a little bit. Surprisingly good. I like Miami. And they are catching 8.5 as a 21-5 team who's coming in winning 5 in a row. And you look at their last couple losses, they've only lost 1 game since December. I mean, I got to go back to November 27th to find the last time that Miami lost by more than 7 points, honestly. And now I'm getting 8.5 against a Virginia team that's coming off a big win and might have a little letdown spot and be looking ahead to NC State. huge, big win, winning by 26 against Georgia Tech. I like the Hurricanes here. I'm taking Miami, and I want the 8.5 points. Miami's a good team. They could win this game. I mean, for you, those of you that are really, really risk takers, might not be an awful money line. Probably get 260, 300 money line on Miami. All right, next game, Drizzy. We're cruising now, baby. Tennessee at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt favored by just 2.5. I told you earlier in the year, I thought Vanderbilt was a little overrated. Now, don't get me wrong. They are a good offensive team, score 88 points a game. But I just don't think that they lost at Missouri. And Missouri, and I didn't get the video out, but I took Missouri plus 3.5. So I'm not counting it officially on my ledger. But I think Vanderbilt's okay, but they're another one in the NCAA tournament. I could see them losing in the second round. I could see them being like a 3 seed or a 4 seed, winning game, maybe even losing game 1, but losing in the round of 32. I don't think they're just tough enough on the defensive end. And you know what? You're going to go in a scoring drought in the tournament. And can you grind it out with your defense? I don't think they can. But Tennessee's not nearly as good. This is not your normal Tennessee team that's been scoring and not as talented as they have the last handful of years. This is their first meeting of the season. Vanderbilt's going to get up for this coming off the loss. There's no doubt about it. Tennessee playing better. Winners of, they've won 8 of their last 9, including big wins against Alabama on the road. And then also beating Kentucky or losing to Kentucky by 3. I'm not touching this game. I don't like it. I got no great feel for it because I think Vanderbilt's going to come in fired up from the loss. Even though I don't love Vanderbilt, tough place to play, good home court, no play from Dustino. Can't play every game. All right, what do we got here, Driz? Georgia Tech and Louisville. Georgia Tech is awful. Louisville is one of those teams that seems to just beat up, kind of bully ball. When they play a bad team, they kind of beat them up. I mean, they beat NC State, who's not a bad team, at home by, 41. Beat Notre Dame at home by 11. 14 against SMU. They're just a little too Jekyll and Hyde for me. I've talked about a bunch. They shoot a lot of threes. I mean, they've attempted 230 more threes. 221 more threes than their opponents this year. They shoot a lot of threes. What if they're cold? Certainly don't like Georgia Tech. I would lean under because I just don't think Georgia Tech's good enough to score that many points. And maybe Louisville's a little cold. And even if they win the game, could you see them winning 90-70? Do you think Georgia Tech's going to score much more than 70? You know what? I'm going to make that a play. I'm going under. I came into this not liking a side because they're just Jekyll and Hyde. I like under 163.5. I mean, could you see a 90-70 win for Louisville? All day I could see that. Shoot, they could win 93-70 and we still cover. I like the under. Next game. Louisville, another team that's probably going to get upset. This one I can't touch with a 10-foot pole. I can't believe they're 14.5. Without their best player? They're without their best It scares me because this line seems wrong by a bunch. And Kansas State just fired their coach. Jerome Tang just got fired. And what did they do after he got fired? Granted, it was at home. They come out and they beat a decent Baylor team by 16. It could be one of those things where the coach's message just was not getting through to these kids. And now the coach is gone and they feel free. They're like, I know they're only 2-11 in the Big Ten. And I like Texas Tech. Hey, I got a $15 wager on Texas Tech to win it all. I could throw that in the garbage. They're not doing it without Toppin. He's their best player. I mean, they're going to rally the troops. They're going to rally without them. There's no doubt. But are they good enough to win by 15? I don't know about that. Have they played yet this year? I don't know if these two teams have matched up yet. I'm not going to bet it. If anything, I lean under without their best player, Not sure where to go, who takes over, late in the shot clock. Where do we go with the ball? They always went to Toppin. Another under for Dustino? My gosh. I'm like the under maniac today. 3 baseball teams, that I kind of like, leaned under. And now I got one I guess that would be, 3 unders. Maybe it's the day of the unders. Give me under 163.5. Give me Texas Tech being a little out of sync offensively without their top dog. All right, next game. We're getting there, baby. We're up to 3 o'clock. Woo! This is going to be a banger, as the kids say. Houston and Arizona. I think the rankings are not spot on. I think from what I've watched, the games that I've seen, the teams I've seen, I think Houston and Michigan are the 2 best teams in the country. Oh, Dustino, really going on a limb. They're number 1 and number 2. I'm just telling you. I think the rankings are on. Now, Arizona's up there for sure. But those are the teams that I see. And I really like Illinois. And then maybe my Huskies get it going. This is a tough game to call. 142.5. Now, this is not your normal Houston. This is not your normal Houston team. This team scores 78 points a game. Years past, 65 a game. They were just winning with toughness, defense, grown man basketball, just these, 23, 24-year-old grown men in the paint, just dominating against younger players. This team can score a little bit. So, I mean, there's a part of me now, their defense is still great. They're holding their opponents to 61 a game. And I think they're the better team, but are they 4.5 better? That is very tough. That is very tough, especially when you look at Arizona. Okay, yeah, sure. Arizona's lost 2 games in the last week and a half, right? But they lost at Kansas by 4, and they lost to Texas Tech in a great game. Excuse me. Oh, you know how I felt about Texas Tech prior to Toppin's injury. I can't get there. And I lean a little toward the over because I think Arizona is going to find a way to get their points. I do think they'll get their points. They can score. And, a lot of Houston stats, the 61 points a game, they play a tough schedule, but against some bum teams is where they'll hold a team to like 40, right? And that, skews the stats. But when they played good teams, Iowa State, for example, gave up 67, okay? So we get a 76-67 game, and we're over, 6-7. They held K-State to 64, held Utah to 52, held Cincinnati to 54, held West Virginia to 48. When they played some good teams, like they played Texas Tech, they gave up 90. They played TCU, was pretty decent, gave up 70. Gave up 66. I can't get there. I'm not touching this game. It stinks. It stinks because I want to watch this game. This might be one where I think no matter where the game starts, it's going to end up close. So let's say Arizona comes out and they're up 6-8 early somehow. They get up 12-4. Live bet Houston. Or vice versa. Let's say Houston gets up 12-4. Live bet Arizona. I think this game's going to wind up right around that 4 number or 3 number. So let's say Arizona comes out and they're up 15-6. You might get Houston plus 3 or 4 at that point in the game. And then you live bet it. Like I was actually just looking at some of the scores going on now, and I was looking at, and I didn't do it because we're kind of in the middle of the show. I wanted to. Betting St. Louis, who was down at the half. They were just down 9 at the half against VCU. And I kind of like the St. Louis team a little bit. So what would that have been at half? Probably would have been them just to barely win the game. And I would have live bet St. Louis. And now they've cut it to 4. So anyhow, that's just my 2 cents on how to attack this game. Because if you're watching it and you want to get some action on it, but I don't like either of those lines. I think it's going to end up a pretty close game. So maybe live bet it. All right, next game. Missouri, Arkansas, letdown spot of all letdown spots for Missouri, coming off the big win against Vanderbilt. Not the same team on the road, but they're pretty good, Missouri. They're pretty good. They have not played Arkansas this year. Let's see if either team's got a look ahead. Not really. Arkansas, I just don't like. I like Arkansas when they're like a small favorite or a small dog. I don't love them when they're a big favorite. Missouri's kind of sneaky good. Missouri's sneaky good. No play from Dustino. We got to get moving here. We're going a little long here. Next game. Got fired up about the basketball. Oh, my UConn Huskies. Now, this is a spot I like UConn. I love her. And I didn't even know this line. I'm so fired up because I'm all over it. I'm betting it. Coming off a loss. I don't think Villanova's that good. Hurley is the ultimate motivator. Get on this one right now, people. Get on this right now. I'm telling you right now. I know 2 weeks ago I had UConn over St. John's. Okay, St. John's played a great game. That kid came off the bench, the white kid, the point guard or whatever. You went nuts. Had the game of his life. UConn is not losing this game. I'm telling you right now, they're not losing this game. UConn -1.5, and I'm starring this one. This is one like, let's say you're putting 20 on all these other games. You put 40, or you go, and it's a 5 o'clock. You're 5:30. You're up big. You let some ride. You get a little crazy. You're down $60. You bet your 60 and get it back. You bet your butt right here. Hurley's going to get him going. Hurley is going to get him going. I know Villanova's going to be fired up. Villanova's not that good. They're not that good. They caught some people by surprise early in the year. I know they're 21-5, but where's the big wins? Barely beat Xavier in overtime. You know, I'm trying to look for a big win. Providence, I guess. I mean, UConn beat them already by 8. I know it went to OT. Where's the big win? Lost to 7, St. John's. Beat Providence twice. Providence isn't that good. Okay, beat Creighton at home. Creighton just has UConn's number. Okay, beat Wisconsin in overtime. Got blown out by Michigan. Got beat by BYU. They haven't played anybody. They did not play a very aggressive non-conference. Give me UConn -1.5. Love this game. Next game. Love it. And not just homerism. By the way, did you see the shirt? You see the shirt that the wife got me for Christmas? The weekend update with Dustino. Maybe we'll make these available at some point as we get going. But absolutely. Let's see. Pop Sports Network live from Madison Square Garden. We'll see. We'll see there, Dip. We'll see there, John Dipolina. March is such a tough time for me, man. I've got club championship. I've got member. I'm telling you, man, March is just, you got March Madness. I got March Madness times 2. And my top assistant has just dropped down to part-time work. So guess where the work goes? It doesn't go away. It ends up on the plate of old Uncle Dustino here. But one of these years, Godfather, I'm making it happen. I'll find a way to get up there for the Big East tourney. And you know what I need to do? I need to look it up the year before so I can make the calendar and not have one of my big tournaments come on that week. But a lot of my stuff's in March because all my snowbirds are here. Anyhow, next game. And we're gonna rapid fire. We only got a couple more. Oh, we got 4 more. We are 5 more. Alabama, LSU, not touching it. I don't like this Alabama team. Now, this Alabama team, though, despite being 19-7. Oh, did I skip a game, Driz? I might have skipped a game. Oh, goodness. I skipped the other huge one. That's crazy. I didn't even realize this. So we've got number 2 playing number 4 and number 1 playing number 3 on the same day, on the same weekend. And we have UConn Villanova. Guess where I'm going to be after work on Saturday? Holy moly. Michigan at Duke. Michigan by 2.5. You know I'm a Duke hater. I think Michigan might be the best team in the country. This game's being played in D.C., so neutral floor type of game. Wowee. What do you like, Dipolina? This is a tough one for me. Holy mackerel. I don't know if I got to play here. I think this could be an over. I think this could be a fun shootout. And I think a good way to attack it. Now, I know that Duke has a pretty good high defensive ratings, but the ACC's down, which skews some of those ratings. They score 83 a game. Michigan scores a ton a game. They score 90 a game. How do we got 148.5? They think these 2 big behemoths are going to play a defensive battle? I don't think so. I got to play. The play is the over. Oh, did I lose the pen? No, we didn't. I'm going over. I think these teams get going. I think this is going to be in the upper 70s, both teams. I want to take Michigan. I think Michigan's a little better. The kid Boozer's really good. Duke shoots a pretty good amount of threes. I like this game. I like this over a lot. It's a great measuring stick for both teams. Yeah, John Dipp is right. Duke really hasn't played many teams recently, and Michigan has played a boatload. Yeah, I like Michigan. I lean Michigan. I think Michigan's the best team in the country. I think Michigan and Houston, to me, what I've seen are when they're playing good, are the two best teams in the country. I think Arizona and Duke are right there. It's one of those things. If they all play their A games, I think Michigan and Houston are a little better than Duke and Arizona. But if they have sort of a B game and Duke and Arizona have an A game, or Illinois has an A game, I think they're right there with them. We're going over 148.5. Over, I like that a lot. I think that game gets there. I like it a lot. You want to parlay it with Michigan. I'm not a huge parlay guy, but it gives you something to root for. That should be a great, man. We got some great games. We got what time was that other game? That was 3:00. Was the Houston Arizona game, or 3:30? What a nice little sandwich action. And then we got UConn Villanova. And then at halftime of that, and we got Michigan Duke starts up. That's fantastic. All right. Next game was Alabama LSU. Told you I wasn't, or we skipped across, but I'm not taking that game. But just a little note on Alabama. They're one of those teams. See, like some of those other teams, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, and a couple other teams I mentioned, I could see easily getting knocked out. Louisville getting knocked out of the tourney and like getting super upset. I think Alabama's one that could outperform their seeding. That's just a little precursor to March Madness. I think Alabama's a little better when they play somebody that hasn't seen them. All right. Illinois, UCLA. Obviously, Mick Cronin had the whole thing with the reporter and was pretty upset after how his team played in its last game. Who was that against? Was that Michigan State? Yeah, Michigan State got beat by 23, sort of embarrassed. So they're coming off losing by 30 to Michigan and 23 to Michigan State, both back-to-back on the road. They've been much better at home. He's got a young team. They lost to Indiana at home, but it was double overtime by 1. They beat Rutgers at home, beat Washington at home. They beat Purdue at home. They're a much, much better team. Beat Arizona State at home, Oregon at home. I know Oregon's not that good. Arizona, they only lost by 4. I like Illinois a lot. I think Illinois, they're number 10 in the country. I think they're top 5 or 6 team for me. Of the games I've seen, and they're coming off a huge win. So you got a team coming off a huge win. And here's what I also like. Illinois, okay, has Michigan next. They've got Michigan at home. So they just blew out USC. They're riding high. They're thinking about Michigan. UCLA, back-to-back embarrassing losses. This is handicapping 101. I'm taking UCLA plus 6.5. Nobody's going to think to take it. UCLA stinks. Just got blown out back-to-back by 30. Oh, Illinois is unbelievable. They just won by 36. Well, guess what? You think Vegas is idiots? UCLA is going to keep this a game. It's going down to the wire. Give me UCLA plus 6.5. Love the spot. Love Illinois to look at. This is one of the most beautiful handicapping scenarios you could get. 2 big blowouts, and you got a team coming off a huge blowout win. And they're looking ahead to Michigan. This is prime UCLA cover. All right. Last game, I think, right? No, 2 more. Pacific and Gonzaga. I haven't seen a ton of the Zags. I'm not a late night guy, unfortunately. I'm up at 5:30, 5:45 every day. Very rare I'm up for one of these 9, 10 o'clock games. Have seen a little bit of the Zags, and I know they're not your traditional Gonzaga team. Pacific, 4th in the West Coast Conference. I just want to see how they performed against, St. Mary's and some of the other better teams in this conference. Lost to St. Mary's at home by 11. Lost this at San Fran, who's pretty good, by 5. I don't know. I don't see it. They played at BYU and got beat by 36. This Pacific team isn't, the couple of times they've stepped up in class, they've gotten and really haven't stepped up in class at all. If I took anything, I'd take the Zags. I'm not taking anything. No play that game. I can't give you anything actionable because I haven't seen Gonzaga. Iowa State BYU, I believe, is our final game. I got to chill out with the love. I like BYU. I think it's a great spot for them. I think BYU is a good team. They're obviously down to 23, but they ran into a gauntlet of a schedule. They ran into a brutally tough schedule, okay? Lost to Houston, lost at Oklahoma State, tough place to play, lost to Arizona, lost to Kansas, at Kansas, and lost at Arizona. So they've lost 5 of their last 7, but they lost 4 of those 5 to teams ranked in the top 14. They lost twice to the number. They lost once to the number 1 team in the country, to the number 8 team in the country, to the number 14 in the country on the road, and to the number 4 team in the country. I mean, and then when they lost to Texas Tech, they were 15th, and I thought Texas Tech was a top 10 team. So I think this BYU team is pretty good. I don't think they were as good as people thought in the beginning, but I don't think they're this bad. Iowa State, come on, let's be honest. They're always frauds. You know that, Godfather. John DePolina knows that. We always joke about Iowa State being somewhat frauds, especially come tournament time. I don't see it. Yes, coming off wins against Kansas and Houston, they're riding high. They're looking ahead. I know BYU lost a kid. I understand that. I still like BYU here. I think this is a good spot for BYU. I just love this spot. I'm taking BYU, and I kind of like a money line, but I'm going to take BYU plus 2.5. John DePolina, I know you're just joining us sort of late. Did you hear any of the NL East preview? Any teams you like in the NL East? Give us real quick because seem to be the only one in the chat right now before we close up shop. I took, as a UConn fan, I'm rooting for the Cougs. Yeah, we'll take BYU. Yeah, it makes UConn's win against them look better, right? For seeding. And hoping we get the 1 seed, which we're probably out of a 1 seed at the moment, but I think we're about to turn it around. Now, who do you got winning the NL East? You like the Phillies play? Thank you. All right, cool. I can't trust the Mets. The Mets are going to Met. I want to like the Braves, but there's just so many injuries to the pitching staff. If they get some pitching, the Braves could be there, but they're going to need to stay healthy, and they're going to have to slug the heck out of the ball. They're going to have to win every game 8-6, 8-5, 8-7, stuff like that. They're going to have to really score a ton of runs. Once again next week, and who knows, maybe we'll have John DePolina on next week, possibly. Now, next, let me just take a look at this. Are we playing St. John's on a Friday night again, or are we playing them on Saturday? No, we play them Wednesday. Okay, good. So it's not. Yeah, Phillies win. I'm with you, man. I like it. Phillies was my play, over 89.5. So we just gave you college basketball. We got the 2 games going tonight. Indiana. How's Indiana doing? We gave you Indiana plus 11.5 as like a lean. Not something we love. They're down 7. Okay, no problem. But our big one was Miami Bowling Green over 153.5. All right, so we gave you for tomorrow, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plays. Let's go 7-3, baby. We'll take 6-4, but let's go 7-3. We're 13-15 on the season since we started charting it. We're crushing the golf. We got our NL East preview. Next week, we're going to cover NL Central, NL West. College basketball continues to heat up. We'll continue to give us golf stuff. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends. Get other people to get in here. The more you do that, it helps the algorithm. The more you get in the chat, it helps our algorithm and gets us seen and keeps the lights on, keeps the channel growing and moving. We enjoy doing this. We hope you enjoy, whether you're listening live tonight or you're going to listen to it tomorrow morning, hopefully tomorrow morning, because you get all these basketball plays. Thanks for being on here with us on a Friday night. Again, sorry about last week, but we are fired up. We will see you soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you at the Garden, baby. Absolutely. Can't wait to get the Johnnies at home and can't wait for the Big East tournament. It's getting exciting, man. Thank you very much. Dustino's out of here. We will see you soon.